What's the number one challenge for businesses today?
Workforce development, attracting, recruiting, and retaining people.
And that's why we created this podcast, designed for the frustrated CEO, the under-resourced recruiter, or the overworked manager, to give you the tools to tackle those WTF moments.
It's time to open another workforce therapy file.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Workforce Therapy Files. Today, we are continuing a theme where we're getting to know the hosts of Workforce Therapy Files. And today we are dedicating our time completely to the one, the only, the incredible, the author.
International bestseller.
The international bestseller. You're not supposed to do your own intro. But dang it.
I didn't want you to miss it.
I'm not going to ask Jem to redo it because
and quick
time is
plug,
precious.
international bestseller for what?
She knows best.
She knows, author of international best-selling book, She Knows Best.
Yes.
Miss Molley Ricketts.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Very good.
Thanks.
Molly, I know that we give you some questions and you prepared some things that you definitely want to talk about today, but
yes.
We're not going to ask you any of those
We're
questions.
not going to ask you any of those.
Great.
We've got a whole list.
I
of
feel
other
so
things.
unprepared now.
All right. If you had to teach a master class tomorrow about something that has nothing to do with your business or your job, what would it be on?
Boating.
Boating.
That's boating with a B, not voting with a V.
Oh, no, you don't want me to teach that class.
Boating. How'd you get into boating?
Grew up around it.
Yeah.
I was driving a boat before I was driving a car.
Mm-hmm. So now we will also call you Capitan or Captain at Molley Ricketts.
She's been a captain for us lately, like getting some of this content ready and stuff. So
yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but our podcast wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Molley Ricketts.
Oh, stop.
She gets us together. She tells us what we're going to talk about. She gets us guests. She found Jem. Yeah. Your face should be bigger on our sticker.
I like that.
But you're already in the middle. So
Yeah.
I guess there's that. Okay.
The red glasses.
So let's, just like every hero or villain in a story,
Yeah.
they all have a good origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about yours.
Okay.
What problem in the workforce space frustrated you so much that you were like, nobody else is doing this, so I'm going to build a company and I'm going to be the one to do it?
It stemmed from working with organizations that continue to look at recruiting as a transaction and checking a box to fill a seat. The opportunities that come with an organization that are intentional about the people that they're putting in those seats, that are intentional about the knowledge, skills, and abilities that they're bringing into the company. When you really think about it and make that decision based on growth and succession instead of checking the box, you change the game.
Mm-hmm.
And for so long, the companies that I was working with, that's all they wanted to do.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Was your company's name is Incipio. We didn't mention that in the intro.
Incipio works.
Incipio Workforce Solutions.
Yep.
Yep. So was Incipio the first company you started?
It was not.
What? There's another story here? I did not know this.
So I worked with a corporate organization for almost 12 years and learned a lot. It was a great experience. It was also one of those great golden handcuff companies, where you've got great pay, great benefits, great PTO.
Did you have a pension?
Yeah.
What?
Can you believe it?
No.
Yeah. So there were other plans for me. I was part of the second wave of layoffs that banking institution had. And I thought, you know what? I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this on my own. But I had 2 small kids and didn't think that I could lean into myself enough to financially support the family. My husband was working. He had a stable job, still does, and it was all great. But taking that leap of faith on myself was a little too scary. So I went out and I said, okay, if anybody was going to hire me to solve their recruiting problems, and all I have on my resume is 12 years of a corporate job, they're going to look at me and think, no.
That's not going to work over here in my widget making.
Right. So I went to work for a small company here in Louisville, architects and engineers, Luckin and Farley. I'm a history nerd, so they were the official architects of the Twin Spires at Churchill Downs from 18, whatever that year was. Sorry, I don't remember. So I thought, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
And learned a lot from there. And then I was tapped to work a contract position with GE through Yo Corporation out of northern, the New England area, and learned a lot there, especially working as a third party for a corporate company like GE. Learned a lot. And through that, a lot of the managers and leaders that I'd worked with in the past at Citigroup said, hey, the person that I'm working with now, I don't like them recruiting for me. Can you help me? So my first company started itself, basically, because people that I'd worked with in the past reached out, and I thought, I can do this. I can work a full-time job and come home and work again.
Sure.
Sorry, Chad. And that's what I did. So my first company was Starting Line Staffing Consultants.
Starting Line. Because you love the track.
Yes.
Yes. That's a great name for your company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a starting line for new employees, for new companies, right?
For sure.
So I did that. So I worked full-time as a contractor through Yo at GE, and I had my own business on the side. And the business started to grow. And I kind of had to make a decision. I was like, I don't have that real third-party experience. So I went to work for a temporary agency and continue to affirm that that's not the business that I wanted. So through that education and learning, really took my Starting Line business and pulled it into that temporary agency and learned a lot after 2.5 years and discovered that that wasn't a good fit for me. And decided to leave there and took on the adventure of giving myself a few months of a break to get my stuff together. Did you like that? I said stuff. I didn't.
Very well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Self-censoring.
PJ, thank you.
Such growth, really.
PJ. Right. So I took a few months and really got a plan together. And Jason, to your point on a previous episode of really understanding what it was, the minimum expectations I had to set for myself, that was hard. Because I'd had so much responsibility and leadership opportunities in the previous positions, and I missed that because now I'm the only one. And when I started Incipio and the frustration that I had seen with other organizations that I'd been a part of that we were working with, I just saw that real lack of focus and the transactional filling of seats that companies were used to. And there's got to be more than this. The satisfaction that I felt early on in my career, why can't other people feel that? They should.
Yeah.
Why has it become acceptable that they don't have to?
Yeah.
So Starting Line was then dissolved, worked for the third party, and Incipio was born, which is Latin for new beginnings.
Look at all this intentionality.
I know. I just start companies on a whim, and she's over here like thinking about it.
I love it. So if you were to think about the thing that you have changed your mind on in the past 10 years as it relates to talent, what's the thing that you believed 10 years ago that you no longer believe?
Everything's on a resume.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it used to be that way.
No,
maybe
I think it was probably wrong then too.
You think?
Well, I think it's because you have to decide what you're hiring for.
Yeah.
Are you hiring a resume writer? And if your job is not to be a resume writer, then it's probably not going to be a perfect resume.
Fair.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask some questions now.
That's good. I'm going to shut up now.
What are, or don't. Please don't.
Okay, good.
What are employers still getting wrong about hiring? After all this time.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
I believe that employers are still getting wrong in hiring and recruiting, that they're reactive. That because a person leaves or a position goes unfilled, that position has to be filled. It's this job. It's no other job. And instead of taking a step back and really evaluating the landscape and understanding what position is missing, they're just reactive hiring. And this crazy thing happens when you really look at the job descriptions that you're hiring against, when you're frustrated because the talent that's walking in the door that you want to hire to isn't the person that you want to fill the job. And the amount of times that I will ask a leader, well, did you read the job description?
Yeah.
Well, like recently? Yeah, before you posted it. Well, no, because it's the job that I need to fill. For the person that was here 2 years ago, you don't think that job has evolved at all, even in the smallest skill set?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, I guess.
You change systems.
Yeah. You're not even on the same tech stack.
Y'all don't even produce that anymore.
You added
We're still
10
recruiting
new
for it.
responsibilities to that role.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder why I wasn't getting the talent I was looking for. It's like, stop reactive hiring.
Yeah. Yeah. And rewrite that job description.
Please.
Sounds like, yeah.
Please.
Well, where are leaders confusing activity and with strategy? That seems very common, and we all do it. But activity isn't always strategy. Where do they get that messed up?
Post and pray.
I say that all the time.
The post and pray mentality. I know that you guys know what that is, but for those listeners that may not, it's when you post a job and you pray that candidates come into play. Especially in today's day and age. Let's even go back to rewriting a job description that's relevant to the position that you want to fill, right? But thinking that people are just going to apply to a job that you've posted, if you don't have a brand that's nationally recognized, that's probably not going to happen. And even if you do have a brand that's nationally recognized, the talent that you're wanting, they're not applying to jobs. They're working.
Yeah.
Not saying that the demographic of human that isn't working right now is,
that's right.
They're not quality talent. I'm not saying that. Please don't confuse the note of you have to be intentional about the position that you want to fill.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think networking too. Like networking has gone out the window. It's like, well, you may know someone. You may be working with someone in another institution that could be a good fit. Like, let's talk about that. What's the real cost of a bad hire that, most executives
Oh no, is she going to tell us about soft dollars?
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I asked someone recently, I said, so do you think that having a position go unfilled is more costly than that of a bad hire? And they said, absolutely. I said, really? Tell me more. Well, because you've got the position, it's unfilled. They're not, no one's doing the job. I said, so you're telling me that costs you more as an organization than filling the position with someone who is not a good fit, and everything that you have to go through in that experience to then get rid of them costs less than having the position vacant.
And the cultural repercussions, because others have to fill that role for that, not just fill an empty seat, but come back behind someone and clean things up and try to educate and try to train while doing the job and all those things.
And as a leader, if you're acknowledging that person isn't the right fit, everyone that's around that person that knows that they're not the right fit, they're like, well, hell, if they're going to put up with this person, then why am I busting my butt to make it happen?
Especially if that hire was in a spot that is at a higher level than the person that is doing the work.
Tight spot.
Really tight. Yeah.
Wow. All right. I got a question about essential workers. You know a lot about essential workers.
They're my jam.
Yes. They're your jam. And what's happening with essential workers that the media isn't talking about that, people should be talking about?
So does everybody remember what happened back in 2020? With painful clarity.
Do you remember the people that I believe the federal government issued a thing that people were supposed to print out to put on their dashboards if they were an essential worker, so that they could be on the road, so that they could be parked in a parking lot, so that they could be actually going to work. Do you guys remember that?
I don't know if it was federal, but yes. I remember the parking passes.
Yeah.
And I remember having to make sure that people that crossed state lines, especially, had something explaining why they had to cross the state lines and stuff like that.
Yeah, there were privileges around it.
Yeah.
Privilege.
Yeah.
Essential workers were privileged in that category.
Valued.
Revered. These are the people going to work every day, making it happen.
Yeah.
Lifting them up.
Utility workers, nurses. Yeah.
Manufacturing. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what?
And then the world opened back up.
Back to reality.
Yeah. So they weren't special anymore. Do you guys know that over 70% of the nation's worker is an essential worker?
70%?
70%.
I did not know that.
70%.
That number surprises me for some reason, and I don't know why.
It did me too.
I guess when you think about all the things that prop up a community, essential workers are a large part of that.
Yeah.
So
the ones that are actually doing the thing, doing the work.
Yeah.
It's so disheartening that individuals in that category of worker are no longer lifted up the way that they were. I really thought that was going to help make a change and people would admire and look at those committed individuals in manufacturing, in long-term care, in the hospital environment.
And logistics.
All of that. And it just went away.
And you feel like the media is not talking about that enough. Yeah. How would you expect, if we were to keep the lessons of 2020, how would you expect to see those things show up now if we learned from it and did something different?
I think acknowledging the power of their work, the influence of their work, instead of, it feels less than. Like if you have a blue collar job, if you have a entry-level to mid-level manager position in your community, in your home, it almost feels like they're belittled.
Okay.
That their job isn't of value because I'm the vice president of whatever, so I'm greater than. And that hurts my heart.
Yeah.
So if I get pulled over by a police officer and I say, look, I'm a podcaster. I really got to get where I'm going. So, oh, sir, please. Go right on. Yeah.
I side note, I got pulled over recently in the great state of Indiana. And I would just like to thank the nice trooper for being the nicest person that's ever pulled me over. He was really kind. Little side note.
Did he give you a ticket?
100%. He absolutely gave me a ticket.
Do you listen to the Workforce Therapy Files?
Do you know who I am? Is what I said. And that didn't get me any clout. So, no, he was like, did you know that you were speeding? And I said, oh, I just got off the interstate. So I guess I'm still in interstate mind. And he goes, you were going fast for the interstate. So I had to slow it down. Yep.
But just to wrap the essential worker category up, I just, loyalty isn't something that is assumed, it's earned.
Yeah.
And in that category of worker, it's earned every day.
And obviously we need those or they wouldn't have been deemed essential. Right. So how we treat those individuals in our community matters.
100%.
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Okay. So Molley, you're going to switch gears a smidge.
Okay.
In your career, and especially with Incipio, you have scaled a business, your second business, and you've done that. And we spent so much time talking about culture and its importance. So I want to ask you some questions specific to what it means to scale a business without losing sight of culture, right? What do you think intentional growth has looked like in your business?
Understanding that the next thing is going to happen whether or not you plan for it. So having the ability to ask, so what are you seeing what's happening? And not being afraid to listen to that response and hear it because you want to do the next thing that you think is best. Learning through those mistakes and not having people around you to truth tell with you, that's huge. It can make or break your business.
Absolutely. I think that is one of the biggest things that I've learned from you. I feel like you do a nice job of building community around you with people who are subject matter experts in a lot of different areas. And you can tell how you lean into that advice and that connection and make some adjustments to how you're doing things.
Yes.
It's been really cool to watch that.
Thanks.
And as somebody who you got to experience at the very beginning of my journey,
yeah,
I just want you to know that I carry that with me. So
thank you.
It's good to know sometimes when you leave a mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you decide which clients are aligned to your culture versus just being helpful for revenue? Gosh, firing a client, that's the hardest thing, right?
Oh, it is. It's not fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that over the last 10 years with Incipio, now being in a place where you can really align with organizations and grow together, we have several clients that they too are going to their 11th year in partnership with Incipio, which is really cool to say that we have clients that we started with that we're still with today. And the evolution of those organizations as Incipio has evolved, and those fellow CEOs or key decision makers in a company that acknowledge that growth with you, that's huge. And now in a position of clearly defining the culture and environment of Incipio and being able to look at another organization, even when you're in that first discovery meeting and say, they're not ready for us. They're not ready for Incipio. With confidence instead of fear, that's been great.
Not everybody's ready to take action.
No.
They just, we've been on the theme of checking boxes.
Yeah.
Some people are just in the business of checking a box.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's not who Incipio is.
Right. So when people start a business, you see them use any number of job titles, by the way, on their socials, how they market themselves. You call yourself CEO, correct?
That's right.
Right. So what do you consider the primary difference between founder and CEO, and what adjustments have you needed to make?
Wow. Thanks for that.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Can I say something really quick while you're thinking about it?
Yeah.
I'm kind of shifting personally from CEO to founder.
Okay.
So I'm taking that. So I'm really interested in what you have to say because I'm, and titles are whatever.
Yeah. They're really more for everybody else.
It's for everybody else. It's clout. It's you're just trying to get in the door and say, look, I'm an important person you should be talking to. But So Mrs. CEO, tell us about it.
I think CEO to me means actively engaged and pursuing excellence. And founder to me means more of taking a back seat and letting everyone else do the day-to-day. Not in a bad way, just the active engagement of a founder is completely different to me than a CEO. Now, I've also seen titles of entrepreneurs that start a business and they've been in it for a while that they have the CEO/founder/CEO/president/ what was that horrible Bosses movie? The guy that took on like 4 different titles from the character Jason Bateman played. But
can I say that's like a huge pet peeve of mine? When a leader, when a top level leader, we know you do a lot of jobs. We know you wear a lot of hats. Don't put 7 titles on there. I get it. You do a lot of stuff. Yeah. You're frustrated, but just pick one.
You don't need a 5x7 business card size, right? To take all of your titles. I want to know
when I've ended the body of the email and I've started the signature. And usually it's like the signature is longer than the body. Don't do that, people.
Yeah, no. And I often think too that the title is really of CEO is really more used for the outward, for the people that we're working with, as opposed to internal. At least I hope that that's what my internal partners think. Because we have individuals within Incipio that we work with that are smarter than me in ways that I know that I also have gifts that they don't.
Yeah.
And being able to balance that out and honor each other and lift each other up to do that, that's what a CEO is to me. Someone that can discern the difference between Jamie, what you're great at, Jason, what you're great at, and honoring what I'm great at that you guys are not, and how we can pull that up together. The game has changed.
Oh, yeah.
But it takes a lot for somebody to get that, in my opinion.
Agreed. All right. Molly, as always, we learned a lot from you today.
Oh.
Remind people how they can get in touch with Incipio.
IncipioWorks.com, like Jason said, it's a shorter version.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's a great tagline because you do work.
Yeah.
You work hard.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see. Oh, no. Yeah. LinkedIn, Molley Ricketts.
Yep.
That's with an EY.
Love that.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to get a copy of, what was the name of that book again?
She Knows Best.
She Knows Best. Where would they go to get that? Anywhere
Amazon,
they get books?
Yeah. Bargain price of $14.95.
How much would it cost to get your signature in said book?
Depends on how well I know you, like you, love you.
Okay. Well, I meant to bring mine today to see if I could negotiate that, but forgot.
I might give it to you.
Oh, thanks. Well, I bought a copy because that's what friends do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for all your insights. I respect you a lot. I think a lot about you and what you've done through your career. And we all have our own unique path, but you've just done a great job getting to where you are. And I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you.
All right, James, close that file.
Thanks for listening to the Workforce Therapy Files. We hope you learned something new, and we're thankful for the time that you spent with us today. If there's a topic you'd like us to discuss, reach out to us. Our contact information's listed in the show notes. Until next time, keep your head up.